guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a video that's going to be a one-on-one with you guys, and I know that I haven't been able to keep up with the momentum of this channel because the thing is that I was really caught up in a lot of obligations that I had committed to. It was the last semester of my master's, so I was writing my exams, I was finishing my courses, my projects, and obviously there was a research that was going on, and I'm still like 99% done with it, but it's still there, and I just hope that everything goes smoothly. So what I'm going to essentially do in this video is that I'm going to compare 4 to 5 different things, different cultural shocks that I observed, and I'm going to give 1 point based on which culture I think is doing better in terms of that subject. There is nothing to be offended of, please, because it's just an observation by an immigrant, and a big sign of intellect is when you are willing to take in the criticism that comes your way. And it's not even criticism, it's just like an observation. And I know that my audience is full of educated people, and it's going to be a really fun video because it's going to be a really comparative kind of an analysis between the two cultures, and it's going to give a window into looking at things from a different perspective. Anyways, without any further ado, let's get right into the video. When I talk about the two different cultures that I have observed in my life, one is a very Eastern traditional culture and the other one is a very westernized culture, and I have seen extreme parts of it because I come from Pakistan, and anyone who knows that country knows that I come from a region that is not only rich in heritage and history, but it's also really rich and dense in its cultural roots and values. So like everything that we do, we have a cultural connotation and a cultural explanation for our life choices and everything that we do. But when I came in Finland, I had a really big shift in terms of how day-to-day life is different from how I lived in Pakistan. Obviously, we all are humans, but we have these cultural differences that make us distinct and also make us pretty unique and beautiful in our own ways, because imagine a world without these differences and we all were the same. I mean, that would be really plain and boring, right? And really vanilla. Things that I have noticed in 5 different contrasting cultural things that I'm going to put out in this video. For the Finns, it's going to be a window to the east, and for the people who are watching from India and Pakistan and elsewhere in Asia, it's going to give you a small little window to the west and how things happen here. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Point number 1 that I noticed is that in Pakistan, we're very closely knitted. Like, we know everyone who lives in the street, and I'm talking about the urban areas. I mean, the villages have a different kind of close-knit system in which they're basically doing everything with each other and all of that. But I come from a very urbanized city, which is Karachi, and even in Karachi, we guys tend to know each other's neighbors, at least the houses that are right beside us. Like, we know who lives there, and we know like whether that family has children or not and all of that. And our tradition with neighbors are really important, and you need to take care of them, and you need to have a check on them and see if they're doing well or not, and if they need anything. So for that sake, a lot of our life revolves around the fact that we do take care of our neighbors in a way that we give them food and we offer them help, and we just, whenever someone shifts in the area, we just go and tell them that we're here, and if you need anything, you can ring a bell at any moment and we're gonna be here to help you, don't worry, and all of that. But when I came to Finland, the very big cultural shock that I noticed was that there's no concept of neighborhood. Like, nobody knows the other person. Like, your neighbor is not gonna know your name even if you live for 10 years. Until and unless you go and make an effort and tell them, and even if you don't, they're not going to be eager to know stuff about you. Every culture has some good things and some things that they need to work upon. And when I talk about this subject in particular, like having some kind of familiarity with your neighborhood and some amiability among the neighbors, it comes as something that the Finns could improve on, because sometimes there are people who are going through stress and there are people who need help, and sometimes when you make an environment that is really hard to break in and say your words out because everybody is being quiet with all the things and their stuff, it becomes really miserable on the end of a person who is living alone. There are so many people who are living alone in Finland. So yeah, I mean, that's something that could definitely be worked on, because there is no harm in doing that. To just be there for people who need your help, and if they want something, they can just knock on your door. That's something really humanitarian, and I would give a point to my Pakistani culture for that and the Desi culture, because it's the same in Indian culture and Bangladeshi culture and Nepalese culture. Like, this is an Asian thing. We all do this thing. So yeah, that 1 point goes to that. So Pakistani culture wins 1 point. The second thing that I really like about the Pakistani culture, and probably is I'm gonna give 1 point extra to Pakistani culture about that, is that we have a thing for elders. Like, every person who's a little frail and old and past a certain age, like he's above 60 or 70 years of age, and if they need help, and even if they don't, we are always there to offer our help. They want to climb upstairs, or if they want to do something, and we can see that they're struggling with that. And clearly, we all are human beings. Everybody goes through old age, and we all come through a time in our life where we struggle with physical stuff and matter, in the sense that we need to rely on people. And that is why old age homes, what do? They offer the nurses for people who are frail and really weak at that point in their life. And there's nothing bad to admit that in our old age we need help. In Pakistani culture, I've seen that, and it's very common that if you see an old person, you would go to them and you would offer your help. And it doesn't have to matter if you know that person or not. It could be a total stranger, and you would do the same as you would do for your grandma or grandpa. Obviously, they might not come and say it to you because they would feel hesitant towards saying that, but it tells a lot about you as a person if you're not lending your help to that frail person, because you are going to go through the same path in your life, and you know what goes around comes around. That's the same karma that you're building up for yourself. But in the Finnish culture, I have seen that there are people who are so old, and I've seen them climbing the stairs, and oftentimes I feel so bad because nobody comes and helps them, and I can clearly see that they're struggling. Like, they're also gonna fall, and there's hardly gonna be anyone coming and picking them up. I mean, I'm not saying that there's gonna be no one, but why are you waiting for that point to come? Why can't you just like go and help them already? And there's nothing bad in that. I know that there is this concept of doing things on your own and taking the burden of life on your shoulders, and that's fine and good, but there are times when we humans are not superhumans, and clearly we are not perfect, and we need help. We are weak, and we go through stuff. That's being human. Being there for the other human is the most humane part of this life. So that is clearly where Pakistan is winning, because the people in Pakistan, even if they're not doing so good in their personal life, they're still gonna make efforts for doing things for older ones. And that's I really, really like about my culture. Now, the third thing that I observed as a cultural shock coming in Finland was the way the children were out in the public, like it's nobody's business. A big shock for me to take in, because in my country, children are not allowed to go out, and it's not because of safety issue, but it's something like, if you have heard of the word tiger parenting, like Asian parents are really, really protective. I mean, I would say overly protective of their kids. They tend to really guard them as much as they can, and it could extend to even the later years of their life. And in Finland, I have noticed that the Finns are really keen on sending their kids out in public alone, so that they can maneuver their ways and they can come back home and they can learn things on their way. Because when you step out of your house, you learn a lot. And if you're just guided by somebody who's older than you all the time, you're not going to get the lessons that you would learn otherwise. And that is something that I really appreciate in the Finnish culture. I mean, the sense of individualism that's being imbibed in the children at such a young age is unparalleled. This is something that I really appreciate in the Finnish culture, and I would like to see more of it coming in the Desi culture or in the Eastern culture, where people are not considered old even if they're in their 20s. Like, their decisions and their life choices are not held with so much respect and esteem in most families, because there's this thing in the back of a parent's mind that the kid is unable to take right decisions, and therefore we should make decisions on their behalf. I mean, it's fine if you're guiding them, but when you are taking the reins of your children's life in your hand and not letting them be in control of their lives, that's where things get really dark, because then the child never grows up. I would like to give marks to Finland for this kind of an environment where they're raising their kids to be so independent and so well learned from a very young age, because you don't learn everything inside your school or from the books. You learn things as you grow up by doing things on your own. So Finland, you win. Fourth thing that I faced as a Pakistani living in Finland or an Asian living in Finland is that there's this thing around food, that food is there but it's not celebrated the way it is celebrated back home. Like back home, we are crazy about our food. Like we are literally crazy. Every major thing that happens in our life, our marriages, our birthdays, everything revolves around food. When a child is born, in our culture, we distribute sweet chocolates and sweet delicacies. When somebody dies, we give them food. When we get married, we have a whole ceremony where we are giving them hundreds of dishes. Like there's just so much food at weddings, you have no idea. When I came to Finland, I saw that food is a thing. Obviously, everybody loves food. People are foodie regardless of their cultures. But I couldn't see that kind of celebration around food the way I saw it in Pakistan. I don't know why, but I felt that food is just there to be eaten and it's not something to be celebrated all the time. But back in home, we guys, you have no idea. I mean, you can just go on YouTube and you can search Pakistani food vlogs and you're going to know what I'm saying. Like this is a thing. Like Pakistan is known for its food, and especially the city, Karachi, where I come from. The food there is amazing. And if you guys want to have something, I would say start with chicken biryani. Chicken biryani is the best thing that you're going to ever eat. And if you're eating from Karachi biryani is the best. I'm not going to give points to any of the culture for that because this is just a very personal preference. One culture has taken food really seriously. But I would say that, yeah, this is just a very distinct thing that I have noticed around the subject of food. The last point that I would like to discuss is the concept of individualism as observed in both countries. I see that as we are progressing, the whole world is moving towards individualism, and it has its own pros and cons, to be honest, because when in Pakistan 3 decades back, there was no sense of individualism. Individualism was looked down upon, and it was just something that would not be really appreciated as a trait in somebody. But now I see that as I'm growing up, I can see a lot of people moving towards it and deciding to live independently, alone, without any support and without any family. So a lot of people in Pakistan are moving towards individualism because of the fact that they have suffered a lot through the collectivism. Like we all have seen that there have been a lot of consequences because of the involvement or hyper involvement of family members in somebody's lives. Someone who agrees to that, because I believe that human life revolves around the human himself, but at the same time, you are not a person who is supposed to grow up all on your own. And you must have heard that there is a saying, a man is not an island. So a man is supposed to be in the community and surrounded by his support system, because you cannot just rely on yourself for all your life for everything. That's not how it works. Sometimes when you are falling low and when you need help, you want to have people who are your loved ones around you. You want to have a community. There's just this beautiful thing that emerges when a group of people have a shared faith and shared sense of belongingness and shared love, which is something you can never find elsewhere. It's something so spiritual and so deeply embedded in a soul. When I moved to Finland, I saw a sense of hyper individualism, which is like a person is going to move out of their house at the age of 18 or 20, and then they're not even going to know the address of their parent. I mean, this was something that came as a shock to me. I can tell you about one time when I was sitting in my class and I was being taught some subject by a Finn. She's a really, really sweetheart of a person. She got a call from her son and he was asking for her address. And it wasn't that she just shifted, it was that she had shifted 3 to 4 months back, and her son lived in the same city and didn't know the address. So that came as a shock, because if my mother was moving somewhere, I would know from the day of signing the papers. I would know from the first day that she is moving and she's taken a new house or, whatever. Sense of individualism in Finland is something that is really hard to go down as an immigrant, especially when you've lived a large part of your life in a place where people are just there in your life. You are not expected to live alone for your whole life. I would like to really divide the points that I give here to both the countries. I would like to give 0.5 to Pakistan and 0.5 to Finland for that, because I feel that anything done too much is bad. And I feel that in Pakistan, there's a lot of collectivism, although it shouldn't be done that way. You should be there, but you shouldn't be too much there. But in Finland, it's like you are not there at all. So these are the two ends of the spectrum. It's not good to be at either ends. There is some gray area where we should find ourselves. We should be able to live our lives on our own, but then at the same time, we should be able to rely on people when we can't do it and when we are alone. The number one problem that the whole world is facing right now, and is registered as the number one illness by World Health Organization, is depression. Depression is because most times you don't have a support system. You don't have the people around you who would be there to console you or comfort you. That's one big reason why we should be there for each other. So that's it from my video today, and I hope you liked my observations. I would love to hear your comments about your observation, and if you have experienced two different environments in your lifetime, please do share with me what you picked up and what things you felt that were too heavy to pick up and you decided that's not where I belonged. Please subscribe to my channel, like my video, and share it with your friends and family if you enjoyed this, because the most important thing is living a life that is true and honest to our own self. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.